My name's Steve and welcome again to another brick slopes building technique. Last time, Cody showed us a little bit about terraforming. And as you can see, I've taken what he did last week and done the same here to my little island. Today, we're going to take this little island and we're going to add some mountains in the background. This is another landscaping technique that allows us to add a little bit more depth to our creations. I've got my building mask on. So let's go ahead and get started. Here we are looking at the mock table. I want to show you what I've got to work with. I'm going to be making my mountain out of slopes. As you can see here, I've got a wide variety. Your variety can be whatever. Since I imagine this is a kind of a desert or a desolate area, I've taken some earth tones. I've got some dark tan, some light tan or brick tan, and they're in all different shapes. I've got some inverted slopes, a couple more, some larger big ones, and some small ones. And my reason for mixing these up is that I want this to have some variation. And it's really hard to pick from every individual color and make that variation. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set this off to the side, and I'm going to come in and I will just randomly grab a part, and I'm going to place that, and that will create some just natural variation in color and scale that just makes it look a little bit more natural, like it would appear. So I'm going to set this off to the side. Let's go ahead and get started. So first thing is to decide where my mountain is going to run, and I think it's going to run right along here. So I'm just going to grab my pile. I've got my bricks. I'm just going to start placing these along where I expect that this will run. And there's no real rhyme or reason to how I'm putting these down. I'm just looking at it going, yeah, this looks kind of good. So looks like it might make a mountain. And I'll just keep going. So I'm going to speed through this. Okay, now you can see I've got my mountain blocked out. It's just going to kind of follow this path. Now we get into a couple little bit more complicated parts. I've got to fill in these gaps. If I were to hold this up, you're going to notice that right here in this space, you can kind of see through. So if I were to put a yellow brick in there, or let's say a blue one, for example, even after I build the rest of this up, somebody looking through from the other side is going to see that blue. And that blue does not belong here. So what I'm going to be careful of now is I'm going to go through and I'm going to pick up just bricks of the same color to fill in these little gaps to bring up this back elevation up. I've just got my random supply of bricks here, and I'm going to take and I'm going to block out behind these. Now you'll notice I'm only filling in just directly behind. I don't need to fill in everywhere. In many cases, if you go to one of the brick slope shows, you'll see things with mountains as well. And this is a trick of the eye. If you were to look behind or inside those, you'd find that those displays, they're hollow inside. They're already incredibly parts intensive. But if we were to try and take and put a brick behind everything and make it completely solid, there'd be no way to complete that display. Costs are already extraordinary, and that'd make them nearly impossible. First layer, and I'm ready to go there. So I'm going to come back to my random bricks, and I'm just going to start putting these in again. I've got some more parts and pieces. Now on this level it gets a little bit more difficult. You'll notice I grabbed this 2x2 brick, and my immediate response was to put it right here. But if I hold this up for you, you can see that doesn't work. I've got this hollow cavity. It doesn't look quite natural. So I've set that one aside, and I went and I grabbed another 1x2. And I'm going to put him right there. And that fits better. It leaves that piece open for something else. Now I can go back to this 1x2 I had earlier, and it seems to fit naturally right there. Okay guys, I've gone ahead and finished this out. You can see I've got a bit of a more mountain going on here. And I think it looks pretty good. I've got my water in the front, I've got a little bit of terraformed land leading into the mountain in the background. So as far as a vignette or an area for something to be going on, this looks pretty good. But it's still missing something. I need a subject. So this is the best tip, and I think this is one we all know. There needs to be a subject in your build. In my case, I imagine that this is a little bit of a desolate area of desert that my wizard is walking through. And in my case, I've chosen my favorite wizard, Gandalf the Grey. And there we go. Now I've got a subject walking through a narrow stretch of land between the mountains and the water. Happy building, guys. If you have any questions, let us know, and let us know what you'd like to see next. For Brickslopes Building Tips, I'm Steve.